G'day, Professor Joseph Drew here. I was asked the question the other day from one of my master's students that whether all lesser associations fulfill the role of intermediary between the person and the state. In this video, I'll go through my explanation. So, the whole thing that natural law is trying to avoid, and certainly the principle of subsidiarity, is avoid the situation where we only have the individual person and the state. A huge looming state dwarfing an individual person who's desperately trying to keep hold of their human dignity against the overawing power and competence of the state. Natural law philosophers don't want that. They want a plurality of associations, lots and lots of different associations in different forms that can share in the competency and the power that would otherwise go to the state if these associations didn't exist. Now, it is the case that when I was younger, there were far more associations than what there are now. We've seen a withering of the associations, and that was predicted back in 1931 by Pope Pius. He said if the state took on all these additional burdens, it would make these associations superfluous, they would wither away. But he also made another prediction, that eventually the state would be crushed under the burdens that it unnecessarily took upon itself. So what are lesser associations? Well, the most fundamental lesser association is the family. It's the most fundamental association in natural law philosophy. It doesn't have to be the traditional family these days in our progressive world, but it is a group of people striving for a common goal with a unifying relationship that's a long-term, lifelong relationship about them. Now that is the fundamental association, but it's not the only association. Now, what is an intermediary is an association that exists in the space between the person on the one hand and the ginormous state on the other hand. The intermediary bridges that gap between the person and the state. They allow the person to interact with something that's in between them and the state. The state is too big and too awesome, too powerful, too competent for the person to interact directly with. They can interact with this intermediary body, which can provide them with feedback and support, or represent their interests further up towards the state. It's the function of the intermediary. So getting back to that very good question, are all lesser associations intermediaries? No, clearly they're not. Now clearly some lesser associations are critical intermediaries, such as the family. Without the family you wouldn't learn your values, you wouldn't learn respect for rules and authority, you wouldn't learn that when we all cooperate we all end up better off, which is the common good. You wouldn't be able to see those things because other organisations are too big for you to perceive the effect of your individual actions. Now, it's certainly the case that every intermediary is a lesser association, because if it wasn't, it would be the state. It wouldn't be intermediate between anything. But there would be some intermediaries, such as the gun lobby, that doesn't serve a role between me as an individual and the state. I don't have a gun, I don't want a gun, I don't know about guns. However, it could. And I think all lesser associations could perform a intermediary role for particular cohorts, or perhaps if they expanded their mission. So in summary, it's a very convoluted and complicated answer. In summary, all intermediaries are lesser associations. Some lesser associations are definitely intermediaries. Some have the potential to be intermediaries, and some perhaps probably aren't. I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much for your time, and please keep sending me great questions like this. It makes me think, and I really enjoy trying to help you discover the answer with me. Thank you.